So now I want to finish a few halachas still, which has to do with what kind of doors is mechiyev b'mezuzah. Now, sometimes you have in a shul or in a house which you have only a door which is an exit door. You cannot come in from outside. It's from outside. It's locked. It's only you could go out from inside. You could go out outside. Be'etzem, such a thing is only a door which when made for outside is me'ikar adin shpechi b'mezuzah. Because the Torah says that you have to Pesach aknisa, the door which you go into a house, has to go house which goes into a house, a door which goes into a house. If you cannot go into the house, you can only come out from the house. Then we have doors which is revolving doors. We know we have to put on the mezuzah on the right side of the door. You have a revolving door, which basically it turns, the airports or the hospitals. In the middle there's a pole. Yeah, in the middle is a pole. You go in on one side, you come on the other side. So it is not considered two doors. When you have two doors, and there's a post in the middle, you have a post in the middle, you have two doors, you have to put two mezuzahs. If there's a post in the middle which is staple, which is but over here, although there's the pole on which the revolving door is turning around, it's not considered two doors, and you only put in going into the house, not coming out of the house.
So the turnstile downstairs
is a
mezuzah?
It doesn't need it's going into a mezuzah. First of all, it does not. It goes into a room with mezuzah, and also I don't think it's have a tirsa pesach.
The whole top
has a no regular and tirsa pesach.
Full cover on top, and it's got
and
full side.
Okay, so beikra what's it davzana, but it's going into a mikveh. That's why it's not mechir. But let's say this will be going into a shul, such a thing, but it's not mechir b'mezuzah. Yeah. Then we have a pocket door. Pocket door is very interesting. Pocket door works. You have two mezuzahs and a mashkoif on one side, two mezuzahs and a mashkoif on the other side. In the middle, it goes on tracks. So very interesting. It has basically two dalsas, two mezuzahs, four mezuzahs, and two mashkoifs. So I would say maybe you need two mezuzahs. But Lamaisi, the post can say in such a case, it is considered one door, and you put it on the outside mashkoif, which is the outside mashkoif. That's enough. You don't need nasek mashkoif. Although when you have two mashkoif, sometimes you'll have to need two mezuzahs. But such a case, we don't. It's mechir b'mezuzah. Although because could be not mechir b'mezuzah because the door doesn't have a mashkoif and a delis. Because the mashkoif and the delis is outside. And inside, and in the middle, where the door is, the door, there's no mashkoif and a mezuzah. So after getting the point, it's mechir b'mezuzah, but you put a mezuzah without a bracha. In such a place, you don't make a bracha on the mezuzah. A car, which is, or a van, which is 10 tefachim high, and has a 10 tefachim high door, let's say a mobile, or a train, or a bus. All these things, in Shpechi b'mezuzah, because it's not made for livable, for a long-term livable. It's adiras ara, it's not adiras kava. Now, a person has a mobile which lives in that, it's Shpechi b'mezuzah, although it travels. But it's Shpechi b'mezuzah, but that's a mobile, that's his house. But usually, when a person has a mobile, he connects it over there, it's not his house. If he lives over there, that's something else. Like, for instance, a bayis b'mezuzah, shebesfina. So the Shechanur shtei, bayis shebesfina, but there are people who live in B'Svina. I was this winter in Miami, and there was by a place where there was a lot of yachts, and so one guy told me he lives over here. He lives. He doesn't have an apartment over here. He rents a place over there with a beautiful yacht. He lives over there. He's mechir b'mezuzah. But a person has a yacht which goes 3 days out on the water. Is this a mediras arai, and it's not mechir b'mezuzah. Same as all these things, a bus. A mobile which is not made to live. If it's made to live, it's mechir b'mezuzah. But again, it has to have a door which is 10 tefachim high. Sometimes you have a mezuzah which is laid. It's laid down. You have it in Brooklyn. The stores which have a basement downstairs, so they have the doors. Open up the doors. Such a thing is, according to Rav Poiskem, it's not considered a door. It's considered a hole. and therefore is potter fin a mezuzah. Now, sometimes over here in Kingston, we have it when it's in a slant, you have steps going down, and it's in a slant, and you have a regular pace, mashkiv and mezuzahs, that's b'chib and mezuzah. But if it's totally ba'oifim, which is lay down, it's not b'chib and mezuzah. Again, a door which doesn't have 10 tfachim, which is basically 35 inches, is nish b'chib and mezuzah. Has to have 35 inches, has to sort of tfachim high, has to have also 4 tfachim the width, which is 12.5 inches. If it's missing one of these two things, is also, if it is 10 tfachim, it's not wide enough, then you put mezuzah without a bracha. If it's less than 10 tfachim, you don't put a mezuzah at all. Now, what's doing with, you have in a lot of houses today, it's a mezuzah, and on top, it has a mezuzah which is turned. Yeah, it's like what is it called? You don't have doors, arches. They have arches. What do you do with an arch? Now, the halacha is a house, a door, in order to be mechiv mezuzah, has to have 2 mezuzahs and a mashkuf. A 2 mezuzah mashkuf. Okay. So if you have, it goes straight and then it turns. Now, there's also a halacha, you have to put it shlisha elyon. You have to put the mezuzah shlisha elyon. That means you make the calculations how tall the mezuzahs are, and has to be on the third highest place. Now, if it's lower than the third highest place, it's possible, according to most of the Rishonim. So people don't realize, people buy big mezuzahs, especially in the fancy places, Chabad houses. Yeah. Big mezuzahs, which is basically going down till the half of the whole mashkaf. It's possible. If they buy big mezuzah. No, and I'm talking this mezuzah. This you can still put them on the shlish elyon. But if you buy these humongous mezuzahs, lately there was advertised the biggest mezuzah in New Jersey. Yeah. Such a thing, if it goes lower than shlish elyon, according to the Rambam and other Rishonim, is basically possible mezuzah. Is possible. It's not saying it. So it has to be shlish elyon. What are you doing with a mezuzah which is an arch? That's the question.
I lived in the Caribbean. I had it was an arch like that.
Yeah. What do you do with the arch? So where does the shlishi elyon go? How do you make a cheshbon of shlishi elyon? Shlishi elyon means third top. Third top. Do you calculate also a part of the arch in the mezuzah in the side, or that's already the mashkaf? And that's a machlokes of the Rishonim. Machlokes of Rashi and the Rambam. According to the Rambam, you only calculate the straight part. So you have to put it shlish ha'elyon of the straight part. Now, if the straight part goes only till here and then goes the arch, then you have to calculate. It has to be shlish ha'elyon from this tiny part. Might be very low. That's shlish ha'elyon. Yeah. So that's according to the Rambam. According to Rashi says the part which turns is also a part of the mezuzah. If there is from where it's more than 4 tefachim, that means when it's less than 4 tefachim, when it's real on top, it's not. That's the mashkef. But the mezuzah starts when it's lower than 4 tefachim, then it is called the mezuzah. So where do you calculate the shlish elyon? Also on the part which turns. So according to Rashi, you're going to put it on the part which is turned around. According to the Rambam and the Rishonim, is going to go and only consider the part which is straight. Now the Terezu of Paskins are like Shittis Rashi, and he says that you should put it on the place where it's round. You should put it on that means you calculate till it's 4 tefachim wide. Then you calculate that from 4 tefachim high, and everything is considered mezuzah, and you make it the third shlish elyon from that part. Also wir passen in der Zuh. But Lamasa, the Cheshpetit, the Achronim, the Mikdash Melech, mit Choyves Adar, Pesach Mezuzahs, and this is how I pass like this also, that you don't calculate the round, you according to the Rambam, you make a calculation of whatever is straight, 2/3 of the straight part. Then you put it. So sometimes it will be very low, the Mezuzah. It looks a little bit odd, but like that. Yeah, and then my house in Monsey has also such a thing. And it's taka low, but again, this is what you make it till the cheshm. Yeah.
If you go to a corner, where do you count the turn? Because it starts night.
Yes, exactly. So Rashi says you're going from the top, from where it becomes dalat focham, yeah, Now, when it's less than dalat tefachim, that's a mashkov. But when it starts, there is already dalat tefachim on top. From there, in lower, it starts the mezuzahs.
No, but you're saying that according to the past, we're not going to count around.
We're not counting around. You count only till it became straight.
Yeah, but I'm saying you come straight. It starts like very slightly.
Once, but you see where it starts turning. You see, there's a straight, it works. This is how they do it. It's a straight piece of molding, straight piece of wall, then it starts turning. Once it starts turning, that's considered the mashkov. Yeah, even all these things here. All this. Only where it's straight, you calculate the straight one. Yeah. There are poskim which say, if you have a mashkov which is slanted, that means the one side, the right side of the door is, let's say, 6 foot. And the left side of the door is 5 foot. And the mashkov goes slant, in such a case, is put him in a mezuzah, but the masa, other poskim hold it is it's okay, even though it's, since you have two mezuzahs and a mashkov on top of it, which goes from one to the other one, that's also considered a mashkov and a mezuzah, a chayv mezuzah. In such a case, you put a mezuzah and you don't make a bracha. You don't make a bracha in such a case. So anytime when it's not too practical, I don't know if there's too much such a. Well, okay, it's not, whenever it is. The what? Even if it's a nice land.
He's saying even if it's a small slant, also no mezuzah?
What do you mean a small slant?
It's only 2 inches off. It's still.
No, again, has to be
it's nickel line, but it's not a massive slant.
It's nickel line a little bit.
I don't know exactly. I didn't even think of it. I don't think it's a foot off. It's probably half a foot or.
Could be has to do with three tefachim. 3 tefachim still love it, maybe. I don't know. But in any case, in such a case, put one. We don't make a bracha on it.
This was mine in the Caribbean.
Oh, so you calculate from here till here.
Yeah. It was like right. It was very weird.
Yeah. Okay. But another thing, this is only when you have such a thing when you don't have a wall on top. Once you have a wall built on top, then you have other reasons that it should be fine. Because there's other Rishonim which this is in a guy for andere Luchasochet. Once like arches, whenever you have on top when it's straight, most of the arches are like that. Is do not sibus of that it should be it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, now another thing. You have porch doors. Now, when you have two doors, you put it on the right side, on the mezuzah. You don't put it on the door. If you put it on the door, it will be possible. If you have a door which is most of the time locked, but when you bring out furniture, or you have a oilum which comes, you open both the doors, and you put it on the door itself, it is possible. You put it on the door, not on the mezuzah. But sometimes on porches, you have it's like the porch doors. One is a staple one, yeah, stationary one, not staple, stationary one, and the other one is a sliding door. So over there, you don't put it on the mezuzah you don't put it on the mezuzah, which is all the way right in the side. The stationary wall door is not a door; it's a wall. You can't open it. It's not made to open. When you have one which is made to open, you open it from time to time, that's one thing. Then if you put the other mezuzah, it's a problem. It's possible. But when you have a stationary door, and you're putting the mezuzah on the mezuzah and not on the wall, it's like the mezuzah richtig applied. So people do not realize, very, very common, people do not realize, when you have a porch which has a sliding door, and the right side is stapled, you got to put it on the door, so to speak. It's not a door, it's a wall, but it's a wall with a glass, and not all the way far away on the mezuzah. Also, a mezuzah which you put not keneged the mashkov, you put it on. You have sometimes wide mezuzahs, raw mezuzahs, but the mashkov is only a small mashkov on top, and the other one comes out. The mezuzah comes out more than the mashkov. Yeah, there are such a things. So in such a case, if you put it on the mezuzah, which is not, the mashkov is not on top, hast du nicht schmitzig in the mezuzah. Hast du nicht schmitzig in the mezuzah. You have to put it under the mashkov, which it is. So in such a case, when you have a 3 foot or let's say a foot wide mezuzah, and the mashkov is only 6 inches, you got to put it under the 6 inches. Although you want to put it tefach sumach chitz, we know that we have to put always the mezuzah the most closest out of the mashkov. When you have a wide mashkov, you put it the outside because you want every part of the mezuzah should be a part of the shmira of the mezuzah. In such a case, if you're going to put it outside, also shows again the mezuzah, the mitzvah, because you don't have a mashkov, so you have to put it under the mashkov and not outside. Now, what do you do with a door which is a high door? Now, a regular door is 6 feet. What does he have a door which is 10 feet? Sometimes you have 50 feet doors, warehouses or all those things. What do you do in such a case? Where do you put the mezuzah? And over here we're coming in again to we are going to start now 3 inyanim which has to do with menugah Chabad. The first thing is like this: when you have a big mezuzah which is a door which is 15 feet high, where do you put the mezuzah? We know you have to put shlish elyon. You have a third of the mezuzah. So now if you put it by shlish elyon over here, so that means you put it 10 feet above. You won't even be able to kiss the mezuzah. Zug the Yerushalmi. You're right. Okay, but touch it. Whatever. Okay, Zug the Yerushalmi. There's Yerushalmi in Parik Beis the Megillah. It says in such a case when it's high, you put it by ksayv v'shalodam. You put it where the shoulder of a person, and that's what you put it. Where you put it. You don't put it shlish elya. But in Shas Bavli, in Bavli is nicht mashmazu. In Bavli is mashma. You always put it on shlish elya. You always put it, and this is also most of the Rishonim. It's the Goinim, the Riv, the Rambam, the Tor, Piskerid, all of them, right? You put it b'shlish elyon, even in such a case. What is the lamase b'poel the minik? How do we do it? Now the Welt, the outer world, not Chabad, most of the world will put it like Yerushalmi. Will put it Yerushalmi. First of all, because they have to kiss it, it's too high, and finally you have Yerushalmi. But Lamaise Minik Chabad is clear not like that. The Friedrich Rebbe writes that my father, in such a case, put it Shlish Elyon, even though it's too high. And basically, it makes a lot of sense because the Yerushalmi, when you have a Machlok Yerushalmi and a Bavli, always we pass like the Bavli. So why, especially when most of the Rishonim go with the Bavli. So Lamaise, that's the Minik Chabad. But the Welt Lamaise, I'm just telling you, if you're going to go in such a place, you're going to see it's according to the shoulder. You should know.
Why do they pass like Yerushalmi?
Oh, they want to say that it's Machloikes, the Bavli is auch Maskem. In auch the Marsham, other Poiskim say that you should put it like that. But again, we have Rishonim which say like the Bavli, and the Rebbe Rashab, the Rebbe Rashab saying Ma'os, Ailu ni Eilu, Rebbe Sayni ni si Aini.
The whole point of it is that you should see it and remember it.
You remember it, okay.
It's like Chayat Esther Mama,
No, Mrs. which Chayat Esther Mama was in Shoitza?
Saying you don't see it.
Okay, now another thing now. If you put it in, I'll tell you even what. I'll explain you why the Rebbe Sham's problem is so makbetani. Because if it's a machlok zwischen Bavli and Yerushalmi, and you put it according to like Ksayf of shoulders, and that's lower than Shlish Elyon, according to the Rambam in a bunch of Shoinim, is possible. According to a bunch of Shoinim, which we go according to that, is that if you put the mezuzah lower than Shlish Elyon, it's possible. As I mentioned before, that in Jersey, this is a problem. Because it's lower than Shlish Elyon. And Shlish Elyon means the beginning of the mezuzah has to be Shlish Elyon. Not the middle, not on top. The whole mezuzah should be start with Shlish Elyon.
The cloth.
The what?
Cloth.
The cloth, yeah. So Kumtos, that according to Rav Rishonim, it's possible. The Tur halt as is b'David is kusher, but the Rishonim, the Rambam, and halt as is possible. So if you're going to put it where it belongs over here, yeah, if there's a machlok zwischen Bavli and Yerushalmi, which Pashti is a mashma, and you put it over here, it's less than Shlish Elyon, you might be possible. So therefore, the Rebbe Rashab, gepasken, as if the Bavli, he holds the machlokas, and the pasuk the Rishonim would say clear, you put it in the Shlish Elyon, and therefore we put it on top of where it is. Now you put it on the right side, the mezuzah goes always on the right side of the door, even if you're a lefty. Let me just make it clear. because it doesn't go it goes bias udam derech klal, and therefore it has to be in the right side where you go in. And if you put it on the left side, it's possible. A mezuzah which is put on the left side when you're going into a house is possible. Fine.
Can I ask a question? So I'm just saying, technically, I'm just going more visual. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. Let's say this mezuzah came all the way down to the ground. You're saying it's possible?
This mezuzah now, Kamoshi is possible. Kamoshi is possible. This is a possible of this picture, yeah.
So it's a problem having a big mezuzah.
Exactly. If it comes down lower than shlish, yeah.
But it's not the whole mezuzah. It's just the cloth.
The cloth, yeah. But over here is the cloth also.
So
Yeah.
if you have a huge mezuzah and it starts higher, it's possible?
It what?
If you have a massive mezuzah and it starts like the whole door post, it's possible?
And it fills up all the way, that's fine. But it cannot go lower than shlish elyon. It has to be a third, top third.
So if it continues going to the bottom.
Is a puzzle. Yeah.
It has to be a third of.
You take those, you divide it into three, and the third, the upper third has to be. Yeah.
So if you're on a site and you're trying to guess, it's better to do higher than lower?
Yes,
All the way
exactly.
To the top.
Yeah, no, not all the way to the top. It should be a tefich from the top.
So tefach from the top.
From the top, and then you can do it. Yeah. Okay, so this is the first thing which I mentioned. Minig Chabad is that what we do. We are going to put it even for a high mezuzah post. We are going to put it high according to the Bavli. Now let's go to the next case, which we know the halacha of Chabad of Heketzir. I want to explain the Nikida how it goes, what it is, the sigya. By us, we know the mezuzahs, all the mezuzahs in the house go according to how the door opens. Yeah, how the door opens, except of the outside doors. Then you don't look if it's open or going in. But other than that, in the house, you look where the door opens. If the door opens to that room, that means you're going into that room and you're putting it on the right side of the post.
You're saying where the door opens, as far as the direction is.
Direction where the door opens, yeah. Direction where the door opens.
You don't have to close the room. That
We'll get to it. So now let's get to it. Let's get to the sigya. We'll get to this. In Shulchan Aruch, shtayt asam min halacha. A person has two rooms, which both rooms have an exit to the street. Yeah, you have one room, another room. This has an exit, an entrance from the street. This has an entrance to the street, and then they have a door in the middle. Yeah, so you could go into each room. You can go out from Rishis Harabim, from Mechutz, and then you have from one room to the other room, or from one house to the other house. You have a door. Which way do you put the mezuzah? You're coming in from here, going into this room. And over here, going into that room. How do you put the middle room, between the two rooms, the door between the two rooms, how do you put it? Which way? Both ways you could come in from outside. So if you cannot come only from one way, so automatically, you're going into one room, and you have to go into the other room, so you know, it goes that way. But if you have a door from two sides, which way you put the mezuzah? Zuk Shulchan Aruch, you're going to Kohen Heketzir. How do I know where it belongs, what is the right side, where it belongs? You see where the door opens. The way the door angles opens, that's the right side. So if it opens towards that room, you put it in that room. If it opens outways, so it means the ikir shtamsh is coming into this room, you put it on the left side from this room, that means coming in from that side in the right side.
Double hinge doors and sliding doors.
The what? Oh, double inch doors, sliding doors, you put wherever, yeah. What? What when it doesn't work?
Remember you said last time, if you go on straight, that might be the only place to put it, but it's not. But it might not be good. Like if you put like the storage. You're talking about glass.
No, you're talking about glass, which you don't have a match curve. That's a different. Okay, so this is what Shulchan Aruch. Again, the Shulchan Aruch tells you have two doors coming out from Rishis Harabim. So it doesn't say anything. If you have a room which you're going in one way and the Heketzir is going in, doesn't say how to put a mezuzah. Now in Shulchan Aruch, there's a lot of ways we have two rooms which go one into the other one. How do we know which way is the right side, which way you're going in? You're from the kitchen to the dining room, or the dining room to the kitchen. So we have other klolam which they state in Poiskim. One klal is pnimi, whichever is most inside, the merchshivas. So that means going in over there, because that's pnimi. One other thing is, where is the ikir shtamshus of the balabais? For instance, you have a svorim zimmer, yeah, a study room, and it's right next to a dining room. Now the balabas usually goes in from the study room into the dining room. But most of the other people which want to go into the room will go in from dining room to the. He has a door which goes in. Let's say whatever it should be has a door going into his study room. He goes in usually to the dining room. The B'nai Bais will go in from the dining room to the. Is the post mezuzah? You look according to the balabais. Wherever the balabais, where he goes, that is considered the main room where he goes in. That means from the study room to the dining room. That means you're putting it towards the dining room. That's other Zachverstreit in the poskim. Then it goes, which one is the most used room? Is the dining room most used or the study room? You're going to most room. It's too fshidana klulam how to deal with rooms which we don't know where to put, and we want to know which one is on the right side, because again, if you put it on the left side, it's possible. So we have, and then is the last thing is called heker sir. But in Shulchan Aruch, over here when it comes to this halacha, when it has two doors, only mention heker sir. Okay? Now, when a person does not have heker sir, for instance, it's a lot of houses doesn't have heker sir, it's only an arch, and we want to know how to do it. We use these other things, even Ma'aseh Chabad, which you go by heker sir, we use the klulim which we have in the Paskam, Pnimi, Ikri Shtamshes, the Shtamshes Shel Balabais, all this which I just mentioned before, it's also Nagai for us, a place where you don't have heker sir. But by us, when you have a heker sir, we are always going to go according to the way how the door opens. Although in Shulchan Aruch steht not in such a way that every room has an entrance from outside, we will go, and that's the klal by Aseh Chabad, always going according to the hinges. But there's one Tanai. Has to be any way that you could come in from that room. Let's say, for instance, you're going into that room. Now, over here, not a problem, because the tzir goes into that room. So it's not a problem making it on the right side. But let's assume the door was turned around, and you're going in outside. Yeah, there's no way to go into that room. The way to go in the room is from here in. But the door, the heker sir is going out. We will put the mezuzah on the left side. That means the right side of the door going into this room. Why? Because it has a window. As long as there is a way, theoretical, you could come in from the window, that's fine. The same will be as a porch. Exactly. The Rebbe Rashab had the story with a porch. He had a porch which went out from one of his rooms, and it was a closed porch, but the door went into the house. So he put the mezuzah coming into the house on the left side. That means going into the house on the right side. That means as if you are standing in the porch, you're going into the house, and he put it on the right side. So the question was, how could you come in? That porch is the way to go to the porch is only by going out from the house to the porch. Why did you put it coming in from the porch inside? So the Rebbe Rashab asked the Rebbe Marash. The Rebbe Marash says, I don't care. Come from the roof. You come down from the roof on the porch. You're finished. That was this.
Some people that say that even if it's not.
I want to get to this. Let me finish this. This is exactly what I want to discuss. So
it doesn't make any sense. It sounds right.
Let me discuss this. When you have a question afterwards, then I'll get to that. Let's So that's the Nakida. So we know we're going heker sir. So there is two questions over here. Does it mean taka when it goes with a story? The story goes that the Rebbe Marash asked the Friedige Rebbe. The Rebbe Rashab asked the Friedige Rebbe in a house in Lubavitch. He asked him, does the Rebbeinu which come to visit the Rebbe has look at the door at the mezuzah that is put on wrong? They don't have a pela. They're not, how come the mezuzah is this way? Friedige Rebbe says yes, there are. Everybody's chiddishing. Why is the mezuzah the opposite way? So the Rebbe Rashab said, my father told me that you put it going to heker sir. So ask my father, but how do you go in? The Rebbe Marash geantwortet, wus art mich, soll kommen von der Fenster? That was his answer. What do I care? Should they come from the window? So now the question is, does it mean taka that he meant to say that since there's a window, there's a way to go into this room, so therefore I'm going to call a haketzir. But let's say if there's a closed room, yeah, a big, humongous walk-in closet, yeah, which basically is 10 by 10, yeah, and the haketzir is going out from the room into the bedroom. So according to us, we're going to put the room, yeah, coming out from the walk-in closet all the way to the room. So in such a case, there's no window. So we will say, in such a case, you put the mezuzah going into the closet. Although the haketzir is the opposite way, but since there's no way how to go into the walk-in closet because it's a closed place, yeah, it's a closed place. So therefore, we are going to put it going into to that room. Or no, we're going to say no. Always going haketzir. The Rebbe Rashab said, the Rebbe Marash said, was Arp Mich, come from the window. It was just like to push him off. I don't care, come from the window, come from, So it's only a dechi. Yeah? This is what we wanted to say, Miss Probably. That's the sufuk. Now, first of all, let me just say that this shit of haketzir, although Shechanur Chamashma only when it goes from the two sides, there's doors, this shitta is a shitta, which is basically Shittas Rambam. Shittas Rambam, if you look in the Rambam says, when you have two houses, and you don't go to haketzir, he doesn't give this t'nai with the mechaber writes at t'nai that has doors from the two sides. He says b'chlal that when you have two houses and you have a door between, you're going to call haketzir. This is how the Rambam explains it. Then we have Sad Yegun and Siddur writes also the same thing, that you're going to haketzir. It makes no chalikam if you have a door outside or not outside. He says always you're going according to haketzir. This is the Reb Shaya Achron, the Piskei Riyas, one of the Rishonim. He writes it clearly. There's a lot of Rishonim which say clearly that you're going to go to haketzir. It doesn't give this t'nai what the Mechaber said. So it's not so ugefreg this the Rebbe Rashab's shitta, or it's not the Rebbe. The Rebbe writes that it's basically till the Alter Rebbe. The Rebbe writes in the letter, it goes till the Alter Rebbe. So it's not ugefreg because you have a Rishonim which says like this. But the question begs, but is it that only when there is a way, somehow a way to go into that room, other way, and then you can say you're going haketzir. But if there is no way to go in only to this way, then you don't go to haketzir. Why? Again, as I explained, you could say that the Rebbe Rashab meant to say it should come from the roof, means just to a duchi bekash, or it means no, when you have a place to through the window or not. And that's, so how do you do? So there's not clear, from the Rebbe is not clear this thing. We have a machlokas between Rav Lando, Rabbi Yankov Lando, which he was basically he was the Rav by the Rebbe Rashab, and he says, according to the Rebbe Rashab, in any way, I don't care, even if it has no window, you always go according to haketzir, and even if a big room which has a boiler room or a big walk-in closet, if the door comes out, you're going to put it on the left side, which means the right side coming from the walk-in closet into this room. But other poskim, including Reb Zalman Shimon holds no. He says, Vival the Rebbe Rashab said clearly that basically that, yeah. Why do you say that he said the fence just has to be pushing it off? So therefore, you should only if you have a window. Now there's another. It goes even further. The Rebbe used to come by the Seder. The Rebbe used to come see how in where is it in Mechon Chana. The Rebbe used to come see how or in Yeshiva also. Yeshiva used to come how to see how it works the Seder. So over there, one time the Rebbe came. The Rebbe came visit the room to see what's going on, and the Rebbe came to Yeshiva in Tom Ch'timimim, and the Rebbe saw going into the kitchen that it's not like the haketzir. The mezuzah is not like the haketzir, and the Rebbe asked, why isn't it on the right according to haketzir, like the Minig Chabad is? So they answered him that there's no, the Rebbe asked, why didn't you go hakatzir? There's no window in the kitchen. This is what the Rebbe asked. The Rebbe asked, why don't you put it according to there's no window in the kitchen? So Bapashtas, we see from this that the Rebbe learned that when there's a window, then you put a hakatzir. If there's no window, then you don't put a hakatzir. This is Pashtas or Mashma. It's only such a case. Other ones to push, the Rebbe no gemeint is fragen as akash, gedoich is am akash. The kav zechus. In any case, huh? That the Rebbe, he meant to say, Kilis in the Shukan, the selbe Sache as they say the Rebbe Rashab. Jump from a window. It's only a d'chia.
But that was a question. This is why we had that.
Exactly. Lamaisa, we have a machlokes that Avlanda holds. You have to go always hakatzir. There's Al Mashiman and a lot of other Rabboni Anash pasken that you don't go according to hakatzir. And this is how I pasken also. I say always, if you don't have a window, you don't have any way to come in, you put it not like hakatzir. And the reason is very simple. When we have a hakatzir to go according to hakatzir our way, although I mentioned the Israel showing him like that, but Sof Kasov, that's not what's passed in Shulchan Aruch. It's not, it's a Chiddush. Sof Kasov is a Chiddush. So, Einlach boy Eilach Edishoy. Whatever we know clearly, we have to do. That's our Rabbi Sayin and Sayin. Whenever we have Svaikas, the Pshat from the Rebbe Rashab, or the Pshat from the Rebbe, we don't have clear cut, then you go according to what this is Pashas Shulchan Aruch. And Pashas Shulchan Aruch, you don't go according to hakatzir. You're going, since you cannot go into that room, you have to go that way. So therefore, in such a case, I paskin l'maaseh, b'poel, in such a case, if you have a window, you have, or any way to come in, fine, then you put a hakatzir. If you don't have a way, then you are going to put it, going into that room, even if the door opens the other way, and it's not according to hakatzir. The what?
It's like a tiny window also, or it has to be
a tiny window also. You could squeeze it. As long as you can fit it, yeah. Now, there's the second thing which we have about Mirik Chabad in Mezuzah. Now we have the third Inyan, which I would like to discuss, is what is if, again, it says that you go always according to hakatzir, except the outside door. Except the outside door. When the door which comes into your house, although it opens towards the going out, you will always say put it into going in. For instance, over here in the shul, that's a good example. The outside door opens towards the outside because, public place, it always has to be this way because when Chaz v'Shalom, something is in the shul, everybody has to run out, the door has to open that way. That's why it always goes like that. It's a safety. So, but you're coming in, door opens out, but where did we put the mezuzah? Right. On the right. Why? I hakatzir, because it's an entrance. So that's clear when you're coming into a house, although the door will open to the house, you will always put it in towards the right side going in, and you don't look about the hakatzir.
Not the second door?
No, the second door, we changed it now, because the room is approximately $1. So
you changed it to where?
So Tishri is coming into here.
And if we down
Ken dal dems is a deles to a room is beginnen mezuzah.
It's not a hallway, basically?
What?
Thing,
it's a room. If it has dal, it's a room.
Isn't there a thing that if it's close to another door, it's like a hallway?
In when it's a hallway, is what?
Then just the same thing as...
No. If it has a room, dal, this is a separate room. Just because you're going into other room. So that's clear cut. Main door. What is over here, which you have another door? Yeah? You have one door coming in, that's the main door. You have another door which is in the back.
That's for ladies.
That's for ladies. Okay, but let's say you have a door in your house, a back door, a side entrance, but it goes out on the street, and you're going into the house. But it opens towards the street. What are you doing in such a case? Do you go hakatzir? Because only the first door you don't look hakatzir, because that's the main door. But when it comes to all other sides of the doors, then although it comes in from the Rosh Hashanah, then you don't go going into the house, you're going hakatzir or not. Now Seichel will tell me, what will say, that in such a case, always when you're coming in from the street, it should go in to the right side. Because if you're putting it according to hakatzir, you're making it going into the street. The street is mechiv mezuzah. You're going in from a room which is mechiv mezuzah outside a plot which is mechiv mezuzah. How could you put a mezuzah on the right side going to a place which is not mechibah mezuzah. Doesn't make sense. So Seichel hat gesucht bei Pashtas Halucha that in such a case you don't go Haketzir because also you go into the house and all the outside doors will go. You don't go Haketzir. You're going into the house. That's what Seichel say. But now we have a problem. What is the Metziz? How do you do it? Is it Takaz or Edenish? And over here also we have conflicting. Conflicting haruas from the Rebbe. One place in Mashmakili, the Rebbe holds that only the first door you put it, and all other doors you put it according to Haketzir. And there are places which include the Rebbe writes different. The Rebbe writes different. There's one place which in a Gersa Kodesh, the Rebbe writes like this. Listen what the Rebbe writes. Except of the doors, you have doors which go into the Chotzer and the Shisarabim, which Bapashas it means, if you have two doors, both of them, you don't go Kohen Haketzir. You're going into the house. That's Bapashtas. But then, in the Kiddushiches, there's a chiva from the Rebbe, which over there is mashma from the Rebbe's thing, that if it's a side doors, you are going to Kohen Haketzir. So what are you going to do b'poil? How do you do it? Well, how do you deal with it? One is it. Yeah, both of the Rebbe from the Rebbe Zachen. So it's not first time. Both letters from the Rebbe. So Lamasa is there's a machlok between our Rabbonim, the Rabbonim Anash, and in this generation. So the Moshe Lando, we asked him this question. He says, Avada, it's a mistake. The Matikim, the editors didn't know how to write, and they wrote like that. But Avada, the Rebbe holds, there's no such thing to put a mezuzah outside, in the side doors, going out to the door. It's not mechibah mezuzah. If for sure there's a mistake, and always you're going into the house, even by side entrances. And this is how Rav Ozdeba Paskin, also with the same surah which I said before. He said, this whole thing is a chiddush. Whatever we have clear cut, we have to do. Whatever we don't have clear cut, go according to what Pashtas Halucha is. Therefore, and this is how I paskin, klur, like Rav Ozdeba and Moshe Lando, all the doors is going out from outside coming into the house, we are going to put the right side. Inside the house, you're going to have Haketzir, again, except if it's a closed room, and other ways, you're going to put it on the right side. Now again, I want to make it clear, Rav Ashkenazi did not hold like me. He holds like no, only in the Deilis Rushis. But again, what? No, I'm talking about this piece. Over there, this piece. So Lamasa. What? No, again, that was the Machloikis. What was the? It's a Kabbalah from the Rebbe Rashab. So we have from Rav Lando Titzbisis. It's always Shmi Bapeh, and also it's Shmi Bapeh 50 years later. You know, you're talking about the Rebbe Shab passed away to Rosh Ayin, and the letters the Rebbe writes. You know, it's later years. It's very hard to ask people, which are old people, how to do. You know, so basically, again, just to sum it up, Lamaisa, which ich pasken azovi again, Rav Lando, Rav Ozda, and always the cloud. Whenever there's a machloikas, how to go in Haketzir Kifa, you do according to the Shulchan Aruch. You go to the Pashtas. So therefore, just to sum it up, by the all three machloikas of Minhag Chabad, the first thing is if it's a high door, as high it could be, you always put it Shisha Elyon. You don't go according to Bain Kesaifov. Although one of Rabbuna Anash I saw wrote that in such a case when it's very high, you put it Bain Kesaifov. I don't go according to that because Lamasa again, the Rav Lando writes clearly that the Rebbe Shab put it very high. Now, could be he didn't have a 20 feet door, but he had only a 12 feet door. But he brings that it was very high. And after he put it the Shisha Elyon. When it comes to Haketzir, we always go according to Haketzir, but if it's going into a room which has no windows, like a walk-in closet, or a boiler room, or anything which you don't have any way to come in the room only that way, you don't go according to Haketzir, you're going always in the right side to that room. And the third is when you have side entrances and the door opens outside. Therese, it's not that common because in private house usually it goes inside. But let's assume we have a house which goes coming out. In such a case, we are going to pasken again that all the doors which goes from the Rishis Harabim into the house is going to be on the right side, and you don't look at Haketzir. Other than that, in the house, we're always going to go Haketzir. Even if you don't have two doors like the Shulchan Aruch in the sides, every room which we have, we're going to see. And that, in a way, makes it very easy. You want to know how to go. You don't have to think which one is more usable, which one is more doors. You look how the door opens, you put it on the right side, and that's fine. But a time when you don't have a door, you don't have Haketzir, then you have to go Primi, you have to go which one is more used. All other klulim which we have in Shulchan Aruch, how we go about this thing. Now, if you have a door which has two Haketzir, sometimes you have two Haketzirs, like one goes this way, one goes this way. You have it sometimes in hospitals. You have it. The right side goes in, the left side goes out. You have it also in kitchens sometimes. You know, such a case you can put it wherever you want, because again, Haketzir is on both sides. Then what? Nicht dahin. Then you can put it on every side.